Shay and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a little reading vlog. We are going to read for 24 hours or do the 24-hour reading challenge. The way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 24 hours and or drop it and break it. Okay. I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 24 hours and I am going to pause it every time I'm not reading. So the goal is 24 cumulative hours of reading has taken place by the end of this vlog. I am hoping that I'm able to do it between today and tomorrow, but I am suspecting that somewhere in here I'm going to need at least a nap. So the goal is to do as much reading, as little scrolling as I can in the next 24 hours. I am starting this. It is about 7 p.m. on a Friday night. And so I am starting this to kind of ease myself into the weekend. So I have put on my comfy clothes. I have put my hair in a couple of braids. I'm about to make a hot cup of tea. I'm going to light some candles. I already have a jazz ASMR room going on in the background. And then I'm going to start reading. Right now, I am probably about halfway through the audiobook for What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I like it so far, but I'm at the very beginning. I haven't even gotten to the place where everything that's disclosed on the back of the book. I didn't, if you've been here, you know, I don't really read the back of the book, but what I would assume has been disclosed on the back of the book, like the reason for why the story is being told, we haven't even really gotten to that point yet. So I am towards the beginning of it. And so I'm going to finish that one. And then the thing I'm the most excited for and what I think will take up the majority of this vlog is The Wolf King. I don't know if it's a duology or if it's just two books that are out so far, but I had a FaceTime with my bestie. I had a whole reading plan for what I was going to do for this vlog. Then we spoke and I asked her if she would do a chapter test for me and that she would just like read the first chapter and tell me like, do you think this is something we would like? Is this something that you would buddy read with me? She read the first chapter. She loved it. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm getting into this tonight. So I'm really excited because as soon as I finish What Happens in Amsterdam, we will jump into The Wolf King and buddy read that with my bestie. I think she'll also have a vlog up for that. So then you'll get multiple POVs for 24-hour reading that includes The Wolf King. And then after that, we are going to pick a couple of books off of my 30 books that I want to read this summer. A couple of books that I haven't read on that. We're going to pick something from there. I'm not sure what we'll grab from there, but I want to kind of read down that OMR/TBR, whatever. So we're going to pick something from there and then we'll be done. My thought is that I could finish, I'm thinking 4 books. I think I can finish 4 books in the next 24 hours. I don't know if I'm being overly optimistic about that, but I don't think I am. I think I can do it. I think I can finish 4 books. One I feel like is cheating a little bit because I've started, but I think I can finish the one that I'm on and then 4 additional books. So 4.5 books over the next 24 hours, but let's see what we actually have. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm already in comfy clothes. You should get in some cozy clothes with me, do some reading with me. We'll have a lot of reading B-roll, I feel like, in this. So let's get in some cozy clothes. Let's make a cup of tea. I'm going to light some candles and we are going to hop into the beginning of or not the beginning, we're going to hop into the middle of this one I'm currently on. But yeah, let's get to reading. Okay, as you can see, it is quite a bit later now. It's only been a couple hours. I just paused my timer. I have 21 hours and 34 minutes left. I am almost through. I have about an hour left of the audiobook that I am currently listening to, What Happens in Amsterdam. So LT just got home and he brought some Chinese takeout because that's like the perfect thing to have during a 24-hour readathon. But I'm really loving, like, I feel like the sun is setting in the library, the candle is flickering in the window, and it's just so cozy. And so I am feeling like this is the best idea I've had in a while. I am really liking the book so far, and I'm going to talk about it in more detail. But for now, I'm going to go have some Chinese food out on the patio and enjoy the sunset to kind of put a cherry on top of what's been a pretty fantastic reading night so far. Okay, we have now completed a late dinner of Chinese out on the patio, and it is about 9:46 p.m., so it's pretty late, but I'm going to go ahead and finish the last hour of this book, unpause my timer, and then we'll see what time it is, and if I feel like I have enough energy to get into another book tonight. I really think I can, and I think I'm going to have to in order to complete 4 to 5 books for this challenge, so let's go inside and keep reading. What do you think?
What's the challenge?
Oh, I'm doing a 24-hour reading challenge, and I have a timer going for 24 hours, and it plays when I'm reading and it pauses when I'm not reading. And where'd you even get that from? And so I'll have 24 cumulative hours of reading at the end of this video. What do you think? Are you optimistic about my ability to complete this challenge with 4.5 to 5 books read?
No sleeping tonight.
I am gonna sleep. I think I'm gonna sleep. So I told them I think I'm gonna take a nap is how I'm gonna do it. And last night I couldn't fall asleep till 4, and so I was like, wow, my sleep is so wonky. Like, that's the time to film a video like this. So anyway, enough talking, enough chatting. Let's get back to the reading. Okay, it is 10:59, so just about 11 o'clock at night. I started at around 7 o'clock this evening, and so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's been about 4 hours, and of that I've read for about 3.5 because I have 20 hours and 30 minutes left on my timer. I'm still going strong. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling awake. I'm feeling ready to continue to read. I do think so, because I don't have the physical copies of the books that I'm reading, I think I'm going to continue on audio. I thought about going to the Kindle and reading e-reading for some of it, but I can't find my Kindle. I guess it's been misplaced somewhere in the move, so I need to do some more looking and figure out where that is. And also I'm thinking that it's more likely that I'm going to be able to stay awake well enough to listen, I'll be able to stay awake better to audiobooks than I would if I was physically reading. I think that would make me sleepier. So I'm going to continue my audiobook trend. I think I'm going to go ahead and get The Wolf King and start that. I didn't end up making tea earlier, so I do think this is a good time for a little tea break and stretch my legs, all of those things, and then I'll hop into the next one. I am pretty optimistic about how well this is going. Let's talk about what happened in Amsterdam, because I just finished it. And because I'm trying to read so many books this video, I think it's going to be better if I just at the end of the book kind of tell you what I was thinking versus updating you throughout. Otherwise, this video is going to be 1,000 years long. So I really liked it a lot. It felt like a love letter to Amsterdam. As you know, one of the last videos I did before I took a 5-year break on this channel was another Rachel and Solomon book, and so I have liked her for a while. This is an adult romance by her, and it was so well written to me. I liked it so much. I think that it felt very realistic. It's a 30-year-old main character, and you are seeing her kind of grapple with where she feels like she should be versus where she actually is. And I think that that's really realistic versus a lot of times you'll read about characters who have it all figured out to some degree. And I think that this felt just really realistic for the current millennial, early 30s person. But yeah, it just felt like a love letter to Amsterdam, and it made me want to go there so bad. On this channel before, I used to do a go to where the book is set and read the book in that environment video. The last one I did that for was The Beautiful, and we went to New Orleans, and it was a really, really fun experience. I feel like this would have been an incredible book to read in Amsterdam, because they talk a lot about the food and pastries. They talk about the tulips, and they talk about the museums and the canals and all of these different things. And I think it would be so fun to be in that environment reading that. So if you have a trip planned to Amsterdam, you should save this book for that. I did like the romance. It was a reconnection type trope. They were together in high school, broke up and didn't talk for years and years and years, and then it's kind of like a rekindling. There were so many really, really, really good things about it. I will say that sometimes in the human experience, we wallow and we will be consistently talking about why we can't do something, or why something is so hard, or why it could never be X, Y, and Z. And while I feel like that is true to the human experience, sometimes it's difficult to read because it's so compact. You're reading a whole year or whole 2 years or whole 6 months or whatever smashed into a book. The experience is page after page. So thoughts that it would make sense that I had this thought 100 times in the last 6 months. It's a lot sometimes when you squish it into a book where you're you were just thinking that the page before this one. And so I think that sometimes in the same way that you could look at a friend and be like, I recognize the potential in you. I recognize that you could do this. I recognize that you are so much more than you believe yourself to be. And then maybe you can't look at yourself with that same lens. I feel like as a reader, removed from this main character, it consistently felt like, girl, you are so much more than you think you are. And I think that it got just to the edge of annoying, of like, okay, dust yourself off, pick yourself up, like try again, do something different, versus having the recurring thought, but I think it was realistic. And I think there was some really good mental health representation in here. She struggles with depression and anxiety. And I think that sometimes those words lose a little bit of meaning because we have begun to use the terms that when we're just feeling a little bit anxious, we'll say, oh, I have anxiety, versus like somebody who has a diagnosed anxiety disorder or diagnosed major depressive disorder or things like that. And so this actually explores the main character's kind of journey to figure out what was going on, to become diagnosed, to take medication, to find the right one. And I think there's some really good representation for that. And then something that I've never read in a book before, the main character has what I think is called a port wine stain, but it's the large birthmark that's like the color of spilled wine, I guess is why it's called that, on her face. And it talks about how that impacts her confidence and everything. There were just so many little pieces of this that made the characters feel tangible, that made Amsterdam feel tangible, that made it feel so real. And so I liked this because it was very much an escape. It was very much being able to fly across the world and go somewhere different while still being grounded by a very realistic female main character. You don't get to know the MMC as well, but like I feel like he also was pretty realistic, but this is more you walking through the FMC's journey of like coming to terms with who she is and being not only okay with that, but like finding pride or joy in who she is. And yeah, I would go back to this and read this again. Like I feel like sometimes I'll read a romance and I'm like, that's the only time I'm ever going to do that. Sometimes I feel like I would come back again and again. If I were ever going to Amsterdam, I would 100% read this book again. I didn't rate it, but like sitting with it right now, I'm feeling like probably like 4 stars. Like I liked it quite a bit. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be The Wolf King. And I will update you before I like go to bed or take my nap or whatever. And I'm going to continue to pause every time I'm not reading. Like I'm paused right now with 20 hours, 30 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. I'm going to take you with me and make a cup of tea. I'm going to listen to some of this audiobook. Maybe in the morning we'll hit a Barnes & Noble and pick up the physical copy. And so that I can hybrid read, because I think after my nap, I'm going to be more likely to want to read with my eyes. So, yeah, that's my update. So I went to go and make my tea and I'm out of my peppermint leaf, which is what I have at nighttime so that I can have something caffeine free and like chill out, but everything I have has caffeine, so we won't be doing that. So instead I opted for some dessert. So we're going to be having a Skinny Cow ice cream sandwich, chocolate ice cream sandwich, and then I have officially downloaded The Wolf King, and so we will start The Wolf King. It is 11:16 right now, so it just took me a few minutes to like get up, stretch my legs, go to the bathroom, grab some dessert, download the book, whatever. So now the time has come and we are getting ready to get started. I'm excited. I feel like it doesn't make a ton of sense to do like a bunch of montages right here or anything, because I'm literally like looking at my phone, playing a game while listening to an audiobook until I can physically read tomorrow. So I will see you when I have another update. Okay, I think this is probably going to be my last update for the night. I am in bed in my Christmas nightgown, a little bit of Christmas in July. I am 18 chapters into The Wolf King, and so far so good, but I am starting to get really sleepy. It's about 1:15 in the morning. I have 18 hours and 47 minutes left, so I think that I'm probably getting pretty close to my mid-reading nap. I'm going to try to see, I was trying to get under 18 hours, but to do that I'd have to read for another 48 minutes, and I just don't know that I have that in me. So I'm going to probably wrap up here soon for the night and get some sleep, and then see y'all in the morning to knock out. I was hoping to do it in 2 days, which means I was hoping to get close to 12 hours today and then 12 hours tomorrow. Clearly, I did not make that, so it might end up going into Sunday, but I will see you guys in the morning. Good night. 3:26 p.m. and I am doing okay so far today on my 24-hour readathon. So I have finished The Wolf King, and I think I'm going to withhold, maybe I won't. Maybe we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. I am going to read the second one, and then once I read the second one, I think I'll have a more complete opinion, I guess, like a more complete view of what I think. I obviously like the first one enough to read the second one, but just barely. I liked it. Okay. I feel like it had really good bones. I feel like if I had read the outline of this book, I would have been like, yes, 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 yes. However, in a romantasy, I prefer that if you are not going to focus on the fantasy elements as much, the political intrigue, the mechanics of the magic system, etc., that you just don't include them as much. Like you talk more about the romance than you do about the fantasy pieces. However, I really struggle when you write a romance in a fantasy world and you act like you're going to focus on those things, but then you start to break your own rules or things don't add up or they don't really make sense. I would rather you not include the fantasy elements at all, just set it in some magical realm where like it's a love story, but also there's some magic or whatever that's not well explained or whatever, then try to create an entire story surrounding political intrigue that feels like the B plot that isn't well fleshed out. And so I kind of like the characters less the more that we go through it. And the one character that I do like, I kind of feel like the storyline is doing him dirty a little bit. And I don't know. I'm intrigued enough to read the second one. And I'm hoping that maybe we were just doing a lot of the buildup in the first book, and that in the second one we'll have some like exploration that kind of breaks some of this open and changes my opinion and makes me think, oh, okay, we were just planting seeds for them to like be watered and grow in this next story. But right now I am struggling with trying to make sense of the world itself, and I feel like it's taking away from the romance that even the romance doesn't feel the most believable to me. And I can't tell if it's because there's about to be some like Tamlin situation happening. Like I can't tell what's happening, and maybe that's by design, but if it isn't, you know what I mean? It is 3:30 about. I slept from like 1 and some change until 7 this morning. I started reading as soon as I got up this morning and things were going well. And then I burned my breakfast and the smoke alarm went off and I couldn't find the broom to push the thing to turn the sound off. And I was like, things are not going as well right now. So I paused listening, worked out something to eat, all of that. And then my best friend called on FaceTime. And when I tell you there is not a more surefire way than like, do you remember in like the Percy Jackson series when they are like going through that casino gaming thing or whatever, and they walk out and they're like, we've been in there for years. Like that's what FaceTiming is like with me and my best friend. We'll like get on the phone and be like, oh, it'll just be a quick call because I know that you're filming a vlog. I know that you have some things going on. So like, we'll just touch base. And then hours later, we come up for air, like, we have responsibilities. You know, that was a solid, probably 3 hours-ish of my morning in which I paused my timer to, you know, connect with somebody in real life, which I count as a win. So all of that said, we started at 7 p.m. last night. We are now like, what is that? 20-ish hours into the amount of time since I first started the timer, and I have read for 10 hours almost total. I have 14 hours, 9 minutes, and 44 seconds remaining. And so even if I read that straight through, if I don't sleep at all and don't talk to y'all anymore, then I would finish at like 5 a.m. So am I thinking that this is going to carry through at least into Sunday, but maybe even into Monday, because Sundays I have family days. And so all of my family that's in the area comes over. We do church virtually together. We eat lunch together. We play board games. We visit places in the city, etc., etc. And so we do that every single Sunday, and that's going to take up the majority of my day tomorrow. So am I thinking that we might even be pushing this into Monday? Yes. I was very confident thinking that I was going to get 12 hours of reading done yesterday, 12 hours of reading done today. And I don't know why I thought I was going to get 12 hours yesterday starting at 7 p.m. Like, girl, 12 hours would have been 7 a.m. Are we okay? But like, I thought for sure that between 2 days I could dedicate 24 hours to reading. so far that's not looking like the case. So, well, it's definitely not the case because even if I go straight through, it'll be 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'll update you on how the time is going. And I think I'm going to check back in when I have an update from finishing this second book, which I'm hoping is going to take me no more than 6 or 7 hours. And then we'll have time for maybe one more book. So definitely not the 4.5 that I thought I was going to read, unless maybe I do shorter romances. Like if I do a couple of shorter romances, but we started out with this being a buddy read with my best friend, and I don't know if she DNF'd it or if she's like paused, if she's just like down for now, but she was not a fan. So she quit, and I was like, no, I'm committed. I'm going to read all the way through. And so now we're talking about reading the Jasad Air. And so if I do that, then I don't think I have enough time to finish. Like I might be able to finish this one and that one at absolute most. So my only hope for like redeeming the number of books I could read within 24 hours would be to like read romances. But alas, I am ailed with being a mood reader. And so I am going to finish the second book, start and finish. I haven't started it yet. And then we'll check in about that. And then we'll decide, we'll see what I'm in the mood for. Like maybe I'll be like, oh, I want a romantasy that feels better than this. Or I'll be like, you know what? After that, give me a break. So tell me in the comment, let's pause the video. Tell me in the comments below, like what you think I'm going to choose after this, because right now I'm as baffled as you probably are. It's me again, coming to you from essentially the exact same spot. I've been here for most of the day. It is currently 10:42 p.m. and I am now done with the second Wolf King book. I thought it was a duology. It is definitely not with that cliffhanger. Like, it's for sure not a duology, which is frustrating to me because I was expecting a bow and I got no bow. I have 7 hours, 27 minutes, and 53 seconds left in order to hit my 24 hours. I feel like we're going fairly strong. I have finished What Happens in Amsterdam, The Wolf King, and The Night Prince. So far, so good. I'm hoping to get, in 7 hours, I'm thinking I might get one more in and then maybe start. So I might have completed 3 from beginning to end and then finished one and started one, which means we will have maybe touched 5 books at the end of this, depending on what I choose to read next. But honestly, after what I just read, I have no idea what I want to read next. So let's talk about it. Let's just start by answering the simple questions. Will I read the next one? Yes. Do I wish the next one was out like currently right now for me to read? Also, yes. Did I have a great time all the way through this one? No, I sure didn't. I think there was a portion there in the middle, like coming to the end of the first book into the beginning of the second book, where it felt, when I tell you legitimately copy paste from something I've read before, not like inspired by, like it felt like they changed witness protection version of a story I had read before, which I'm not going to tell you which one, because first of all, if you read it, you'll probably be able to identify it, because if you're reading this, you've definitely read that, but also because I feel like it would be spoilers for this if you've read the other one. But when I tell you, truly, I wanted to like flip back to the beginning and be like, wait a minute, like, is this, what am I reading? Because it felt so deeply like end of the first book into beginning of the second book, like copy and paste. And I was like, oh no, because the book that it is copying, the storyline specifically that it's copying was not a storyline that I really love. And so I was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. And I was like, I kind of want to DNF. And then I was like, well, Shay, you're doing this for a 24-hour readathon or like 24-hour reading challenge video. You might as well just like push through, because you have some momentum in this direction. And I'm glad that I did, because when it like diverged from the path of the like copy paste moment that I felt like we had, it was good. I wish that the magic that I felt at the last little bit of that, it begs the question, does the end justify the means? Because truly there were some times where I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to hang all the way through this, but it was like she turned into a different author at the end of it and was like, I have to give them a cliffhanger. I have to keep them coming back for the next book. And it felt like she like pulled from the depths of her soul to write the last little bit of it. And I was like, oh, like if the whole series so far had been like this, then I would really understand why this got so book talk viral. Because and I guess either way, so a lot of people like copy and paste. A lot of people have read things that they really loved and they're looking for that exact experience in a different book, names and places changed for the protection of those involved type situation. That is not me. I love it when you take a trope I like and put it in a new thing, but I want it to still feel like its own thing. And unfortunately, in the middle of this, it did not do that for me. However, the end felt like it stood on its own. And again, if I was doing one of those like yes, no, maybe, like hold up a book and say like, would I recommend this to you? It's probably a maybe. I feel like had I meandered through this versus like read it all in one sitting for this readathon, I don't know that I could have stuck it out. Like I think I would have read the first book no problem. But the end of the first book into the beginning of the second one had such like a lull for me that I don't know that I would have gone back day after day to pick this up. I don't even know if I have because the end by itself is worth a star to me. So I'm like, was I feeling 2-star for the rest of it? And would this be a 3-star? Was I feeling 3-star for the rest of it and the ending would make it 4-star? I don't know. Like, I think I need to sit with it for some time to figure it out. Overall, if you're interested in it, I would pick it up. If you get to that lull in the second book and you're thinking, I don't really want to trudge through this, then DNF it if you want. Or know that once you get to that last little bit of that second book, I feel like it pays off. Like I do feel like it feels worth it because I stayed the whole time and did it. If I knew how it was going to end at the beginning of the second book, I don't know if I would have felt like the end justified the means. I don't know. I feel like this is a very long way of telling you that I'm not really sure how I feel about it as a whole, but book ended. I loved the beginning of the first book and the end of the second one. So that's that on that. That's where we are. So like I said, it is getting a little bit late. I stayed up until 1 yesterday and then got up at 7. Tomorrow is like a family day for me. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to read tomorrow. I definitely don't think I'm going to read the next 7.5 hours through, but I do want to pick my next read. And so that I can kind of, maybe even my next 2, so I can map out my expectations. All of my complaints that I had about this at the beginning of like the political intrigue was not well fleshed out, blah, blah. I feel like she got there, but like it took us some time. And so now I feel like I don't know if I want to push through learning a new magic system or a new like political dynamic or anything right now. I kind of am wanting like a cotton candy romance. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe even YA. Not that this was like heavy necessarily. Let me get up, take a walk, stretch my legs, maybe go stand on the patio for a minute and breathe some outside air because I have been in my library pretty much for the last, what have we been reading for? Like 18 hours, 17 hours. So I've been in here for like the last 17 hours reading with the minor break for my 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. nap. And so I'm feeling like maybe I need to like touch grass for a second and then I'll come back to you when I have like a reading plan. Okay, so I have breathed some outside air. I have had a little snack. I have stretched my legs and I am definitely going with a romance. I've decided we've had 1 romance so far this video, 2 romantasy. And so I feel like we should balance the scales a little bit with a romance. So I'm going to do Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. This one has been on my TBR for a while and it sounds sweet and summery. And by that, I mean, I didn't read anything about it, but it has summer in the title and a cute cover. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna jump into it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and change into some pajamas, lay down, set my timer, like have my timer going and read until I'm too tired to read anymore. I'm gonna check in with you guys in the morning, let you know how far I got and just complete the last little bit of this. While I don't think that this is gonna carry us all the way to the end of this challenge, I think it's gonna get us pretty close. I feel like you can probably already tell I am fading fast. So I don't know. It's 11:10 right now. I made it till 1 yesterday. So maybe I have 2 more hours in me, but I think I'm not as motivated to like push through tonight knowing that I'm going to have to do some tomorrow. I'm less like, oh, like cram it in. You're only 1 or 2 hours away. Like we still have 7.5 hours. And if you're keeping track of like what the clock time has been, we've read 16.5 hours so far and it has been 27 clock hours. So we have between sleeping, eating, filming, other activities, that has been 10 hours of the last 27 hours. And then about 17 hours has been reading. So I'm interested to see if it's going to be like 24 hours within 48 clock hours. And is this realistic to the way way that I read it all? No. Could I like keep up this kind of reading? No. So like having essentially 4 to 5 books in 2 calendar days is very odd for me. This is not realistic reading at all, but it's been a fun challenge and I'm looking forward to like pushing through it. But I think I'm also looking forward to like going back to my more leisurely reading schedule. Even though lately I have been in like a book a day moment, I think just like on days that I have off and the ability to like just read, that's been what I've been super into recently. So I have done maybe 4 or 5 books in a week, but definitely not over the course of 48 hours. So I'm gonna go hop into Curvy Girl Summer and I will update y'all in a little bit. I don't know why wait, it's not the end. Okay, bye. Okay, happy Sunday. I'm coming to you live from the laundry room because we quarantine all of our plants in here before they go like out into the house. That way if they have like bugs or anything, Luna is having a blast back here. That way if they have like bugs or anything, that we can make sure that everything is like eradicated and taken care of before we put it out in like a general population with the other plants so that nothing passes on. Just anytime we buy like plants from the plant store, we just bring them here to like, you know, quarantine. So we're going to hang out in the laundry room for a second so I can do a quick haul for you guys. It is 8:09 p.m. and family day just ended. And when my mom comes over on family day, because she's allergic to the dogs, they have to be put away. Essentially, like they're not like kenneled or anything. They're just like sectioned in another area of the house in order to keep her from having an allergic reaction to them. And so I'm about to walk them down to a dog park like in our area so that they can run for a little bit before I do like get into my PM reading. But I do think that I might be able to finish my timer today, and that is my goal. So I read last night until I got down to 4 hours, 48 minutes, and 21 seconds remaining on my time. So I think I will have time to finish one more book and then start one more book. But I'm so excited because today, as you will have seen, I stopped by Barnes & Noble and I did get Curvy Girl Summer in the paperback so I can read with my eyes, which I think will help it go by. I might honestly be a faster listener than I am a reader. However, I think it will be nice to like take some time and read physically. And then I also picked up Finders Keepers. The only reason why I did this is because this is on my 30 books to read this summer TBR, and it was buy one get one half for romance paperbacks. And when I tell you, I wanted to lose my mind in there, but I didn't because I was with my family. And so I was like, I don't want to make today all about me buying 50 romance books at Barnes & Noble. But from the plant store, we also tried not to go too crazy in there and just got a couple things. So I got this 4-inch string of turtles. I have had a string of everything. First of all, I love any peperomia plant. My favorites are the watermelon peperomia. They are so pretty. If you haven't seen them, look them up. They look like little round watermelons. They're very, very pretty. And then also I really, really like the string of turtles. I've had string of everything. String of hearts. I've had the silver string of hearts. I've had a variegated string of hearts. I've had string of pearls, string of dolphins, string of bananas, string of just about everything. I haven't had the string of pickles, but I think it would be really fun to have that. I have killed them all. I don't know why me and string of anything, like why we don't get along, but I recently followed somebody on Instagram. I will put her profile here, and she's giving me confidence like I've never had before that I'm going to be successful at caring for this time. And so I got to try again string of turtles. And aren't they so, I just feel like it's so pretty. So those are my string of turtles that are in here quarantining. And then LT got a ficus. We have a lot of different types of ficuses. Ficus. I think it's ficuses. A lot of different types of ficuses. This one is a Benjamina variegata. That's how you pronounce that. So he got this one. So those are my 2 books, 2 plants for our haul. We're going to walk the dogs down to the dog park, which I think is probably like a couple miles ish. And it'll get me out. It'll get me digesting my delicious dinner. Every week, somebody different cooks. And so this week was my sister's week and she made Mexican food. And so I will have time to digest that on my beautiful sunset walk. And then the dogs will have time to just run and be free for a while before we bring them down to settle down. And I get back into Curvy Girl Summer. I don't know if I'm going to, maybe I'll listen to this on my walk in order to like keep my timer going. Because I did start it audio and then pick it up when I get home. I don't know, but I wanted to give you like a quick haul. Let's go to the dog park. It is 1:38 a.m. I have 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 59 seconds left of this 24-hour reading challenge. I am right, oh, you can't even tell where my finger is there. I am 315 pages in, so this is all I have left of this book, but I am so tired. So at first I was like, from where I was when I first started reading, which I think was like 148-ish, that section of the book that I read just now picked up so much and I liked what was happening a lot, and I feel like I was starting to fall more in love with the characters. I was like, okay, I'm liking the trajectory of this and everything, and so I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I'm gonna thug this out, like maybe I'm gonna make it to, you know, at least the end of this book, which I think I have, like, it might take me maybe just under an hour to read it. And so I was like, oh, I'm into this. And now we're starting to get to like where I'm really wondering what's going to happen. But I was in here in the library, like soft lighting, my lamp on, like reading, and I started nodding off a little bit. And I was like, okay, maybe it's time to call it. So I'm going to call it a night. We are officially just shy of 55 hours, 54 hours and 40 minutes into this, and I haven't quite hit 24 hours, but I'm just shy of 2 hours shy of 24 hours. So we are right there, but I will be definitely seeing you in the morning to wrap this up, because while I was at Barnes, I got Finders Keepers, and it's just like right here. Like I already have the book and everything here to read. I think I'm just going to hop into that as soon as I finish Curvy Girl Summer. And my guess is that I'll make it a couple of chapters in. I don't even think I'll make it 100 pages with the time I have left. So I'm thinking with the 48 minutes left until I hit the 1 hour mark, I could probably finish this much in 48 minutes for sure. And so then with the last hour of the readathon, we'll hop into Finders Keepers by Sarah Adler, and that'll conclude everything. But yeah, I think after I got a lot of like steps today after walking around the plant shop for a couple hours today and going on the like ice cream outing and running around with the dogs at the dog park for probably about an hour and a half. And then we went to a kids park that was kind of like adjacent to there, and it had like swings and a merry-go-round and all these things. And so I swung on the swings for a little bit. It had been so long since I had done swings, and I was like just exploring my sense of childlike wonder. And so I swung for a little bit, and then after the swings, LT pushed me on the merry-go-round while I just like cackled like a child. It was a lot of fun. We walked back home and talked and everything, and so I think total we walked like a mile and a half, and you know, the dogs got to run and we played at the playground for a little bit and just like spent some time together. And I think that all of those things, as well as 2 nights of like maybe 5-ish hours of sleep both nights in order to try to like get through this 24-hour reading challenge, just has me worn slick. Or it could just be that it's 2 a.m. You know, maybe that's all the explanation that we need. So I'm going to call it a night, and I will see y'all in the morning for the last 2 hours of this reading challenge. Good night. Good morning. It is the Monday after the weekend, and we are going to finish this readathon, this 24-hour reading challenge today. We have 57 minutes left. So last night I was like, I don't think I can do not a second more reading. And I got up from the library, moved from the chair, got ready for bed, and the moving around woke me up. And so I was like, now I feel like I can't fall asleep. So I did some more reading last night, and I finished Curvy Girl Summer. And I think I'm going to talk about my final thoughts about that with the beginning thoughts about this whenever I come back in an hour. But like I said, we have 57 minutes left. So I'm just going to lock in. I'm just going to lock in, buckle down, get this last hour taken care of so that we can say that this challenge is complete. Like I said, I've enjoyed it so far, but this is definitely not a way I would recommend reading all the time. I would get burnt out so quickly. So I'm so excited for this to be wrapped up. So let's hop into Finders Keepers, and I'll see y'all in an hour. Hey there. It is just shy of 6 p.m. on Monday, and I have officially completed my 24 hours of reading. So it took me about 71 hours to get in 24 hours of just reading. I am 112 pages. So I read about 100 pages of Finders Keepers by Sarah Adler. I think that I'm going to continue in my next vlog talking about this, but I will give you some brief thoughts on this, some final thoughts on Curvy Girl Summer, and we will wrap it up because I feel like this might be a long one. Finders Keepers is childhood friends to estranged to lovers is what I'm guessing. They're obviously not lovers where I am. They are just rekindling a friendship after having been estranged. And it is a treasure hunt style story that kind of gives, if you set an adult romance in Hawthorne Legacy style setting. So I'm going to try to talk about this in a really abstract way in order to not spoil anything, because you know how much I love going in blind and I want to preserve that for you. So I will say that the hidden treasure kind of portion of this is linked to a character that existed 100+ years before when this book takes place. And we get flashback scenes, interview style, newspaper clippings of the other character. And I think that a lot of people had this complaint about Great Big Beautiful Life, but it's essentially that when you make the choice to include a second storyline that happened years before where the story is currently set, you are now splitting audience attention and you are trying to get them to care about both storylines enough to be engaged in the plot in a way that pulls them through wanting to read this book all the way. I think it is hard to write a book. I get in that there. I think it's hard to write a book. I think it's harder still to write a book where somebody is really, really cares about your characters, that you have 300, 500, whatever pages in order to make them really care about your characters like they are real people. And so I think to then this can't be more than 320, 350 pages. Let me see. 300, and that's acknowledgements. This is 369 pages long. So in 369 pages, for you to not only build out character development in a way that makes me care about the male main character and him feel well developed, the female main character and her feel well developed, you're going to split this with other characters that are not alive and are not currently a part of the main story per se, and spend some of your pages trying to get me to care about them, but you don't want to take away from the main storyline. So you're only doing this every couple of chapters, right? I think that it makes it so difficult to tell either story as well as you could have. And so while I'm gonna keep reading this, it's not at DNF territory or anything. So far, it's my least favorite Sarah Adler I've read. And I think that it has ingredients that I really, really love. There is this childlike wonder that comes with treasure hunting with your childhood best friend and talking to each other and pretending the way that you used to talk to each other and pretend. I think that all of that is really strong. However, I just don't care as much as I feel like I should about each character, because in the 100 pages, we've kind of explored some background for the MMC. We've kind of explored some background for the FMC, but also we have this third really obscure character that I feel like was written more as a plot device than a person. And it is taking away from my ability. It pulls me out of the story every time we get to that. And so I feel like I keep getting false starts trying to get into it. Like I said, this is an author that I trust because she she has written things in the past that I feel like have come really full circle for me that I liked a lot. And so I'm going to keep giving it a chance to get there. But right now it is a bunch of ingredients I like with something missing and not enough of other things. Like it's like just a little underseasoned for me, plus we're missing something. Anyway, hopefully it all comes together in the end. Maybe we're getting these nuggets for them to all come together and we really like it. But I think like as far as hooking the reader and making them say, I really want to know what happens here, this has not done that for me yet. And I think that seeing as I'm about that far through, by that time I would want to be more locked in than I feel right now. And then as far as Curvy Girl Summer goes, I liked so much about it. I have similar feelings though. So I think that the banter in that, top tier. I love the way that they teased each other. I love the way that they had a very similar sense of humor. I think if you grew up as like a 90s, 2000s kid, like a lot of the references that they make are very nostalgic. And I think that that was amazing. I really liked the MMC and how protective he was without being, I think sometimes MMCs can be written in a way where protective looks like they think the FMC is incompetent. And I think that this was done in a way where he was protective without making us feel like the FMC was incompetent. I actually liked the MMC better than I liked the FMC in Curvy Girl Summer. But I feel like ultimately there were some notes that fell flat for me as far as like, I didn't love that it felt like almost the whole book felt emotional affair-ish. Also, the entire book is our FMC dating other people. Like we are going, like the whole premise of the book is the FMC dating other people. And so I don't feel like we got the on-page exploration of their relationship in a way that felt satisfying by the time it was over. Like it didn't feel like, oh, like here we are at a happily ever after. It felt like the exploration of an infatuation by the time we got to the end versus like an established relationship that we feel hopeful that when this story, like when the book is over, that they're going to like go on and actually live a happily ever after. Overall though, I would say that it was definitely one of my favorite things I read this vlog. Like I would say so far, this is not super fair because this is the last thing I read and I am only 100 pages in, but so far this is in the number 5 slot. The number 3 and 4 slot would go to the Wolf King series. The two books I read from that, because gosh, I really loved the beginning, really loved the ending. The in-between had some issues for me that I'm sure we've gone through in this vlog. In the number 2 spot, I think I would put probably Curvy Girl Summer. And I think in the number 1 spot, I would put What Happens in Amsterdam. But I have to say those two are pretty neck and neck. I just think that What Happens in Amsterdam fleshed out a little bit more for me than Curvy Girl Summer, but I did like it quite a bit more than I expected to. I thought that it was going to be like light, fluffy, and like just, I don't know what I expected, but it discussed more serious topics than I was expecting in a way that I feel like kind of shed light on those things without dragging the entire story down. There was a moment in the beginning where I was like, is this going to be heavy? Are we going to go in the direction of like trying to use a book to like preach a message by saying that message over and over again versus like exploring it through showing us rather than telling us, you know what I mean? But it didn't do that. I think we ended up in a pretty good space at the end of that. So I think that's my final tier ranking for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you stayed until the end, because this was a heck of a video, I feel like, as far as time goes, if you stayed till the end, I would love it if you would leave like just a little summer emoji, or because this was a 24-hour reading challenge and like I have been tired since this started, I feel like if you leave a sleepy emoji, like the Z's or a moon or, you know, whatever in the comments below, I think that would be pretty funny also. So a summer emoji or a sleeping emoji if you're here till the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.